watch and burn.
Hey everybody! So tonight I would like to discuss the 1979 film Mad Max, of course starring Mel Gibson. And I knew eventually I'd have to do the Mad Max movies because I was a kid in the 80s, so I grew up obsessing over especially The Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome. And I knew that I would have to do the first movie, and although in the years since, I've come to appreciate this movie more, this is still the weakest in the series, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I know this is the one that sets up the fall of civilization with with Iran and Saudi Arabia going to war and sort of ceasing all of oil production, of course, because all the oil is, I think, burned or destroyed in some way or size, shape, or form. So we're all left gasless, which sort of kicks off the apocalypse. And George Miller had originally, I know, gotten the idea for this movie from the 1973 oil crisis, and how quickly it seemed that people had sort of devolved back into their more animalistic side when they couldn't get any fuel for their cars. And he noticed how, I believe, wherever it was he was living in Australia, he said everybody was super cool, but it took roughly 10 days before, he heard a gunshot. And so that's what was sort of the seed that was planted for this film / this series of films. I think I said that right, who cares? And so I like that, but this is the one that I believe the least. This doesn't feel like society's ending or society has ended and these cops are attempting to try and hold something together. I just don't get that vibe. I get the vibe like Toe Cutter and company or just like the local gang that run this town because this place is really isolated. You know what I mean? I get more of an Eye of the Tiger vibe. Like with Gary Busey, I get more of that sort of vibe here where the gang runs the town. Not so much that there are gangs like this everywhere, which I know is the premise for this, but I've never really bought that. This movie feels less apocalyptic and more like Eye of the Tiger. So, is that a fucking car? I can hear a car. Yeah, that's a car. I'm going to have to move. But yeah, so I've never really been able to buy into the lore from this one, at least. Now, as far as The Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome are concerned, I totally bought into that. But this just doesn't feel like society is ending. It just feels, like I said, like a gang is in control of the place where Max and his family live, and they have to deal with it. And fortunately enough, he's a cop, and he has a bunch of cop friends, and doesn't really do much because his family ends up getting killed anyways. But it just never really felt like the end of the world. So, I think I'm going to stop talking about it. Yeah, so like always, if you like this review or you like this movie, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But please, most importantly, don't forget that the world is actually a better place because you are in it. Like always, I'm going to go. Have a good night.